Good evening, everyone. I'm Nathan, here with my wonderful wife, Laura.
Hello.
And we're here to do a review of the board game Monopoly Marvel Avengers Edition.
One of them, anyway.
Yes, so there's actually several of them. We actually own the other one. It's like a fancier version, has nice little tokens and all that. But this is just the bog standard one that you can probably get at most department stores.
Originally, yes. It's not a current one. So this one has plastic tokens, which is why Nathan referred to the other one as having nice ones.
Because they've got the pewter or the metal ones, yeah.
Yes. I don't know if the gameplay on the other sort of version or versions is different or not, but we're going to look at this one.
Yeah, so this one, it's similar in concept to the Star Wars Monopoly we reviewed not too long ago.
Yeah.
It's got a round board and the functions are similar.
Yep.
So if you've seen the other one, then you've probably got a rough idea of how this one plays as well.
But more superhero related.
Obviously. So obviously there's the manual. We'll have a scan of it down below.
So we actually have a link in the description, or we should have now, that takes you to all of our board game manuals.
And then you can just search the one you want.
Yep.
And then you have the board itself, which we'll go into shortly.
I do apologise if I'm clearing my throat. I've been sick lately.
No spicy
Boo.
cough, but just kids cough. You have obviously the money. Similar.
No.
Oh, sorry, it's
You do not have the money.
It's power.
Yes. So this one is a little bit different. You spend power on fighting villains, essentially, and rescuing areas and clearing them of the villains.
This one's actually, this we brought secondhand. It's missing, for some reason, almost all the 20s.
Yeah.
But you got the
very
10s,
odd.
20s, 50s, and 100s. You've got the two standard die.
And then there is a third unique die that goes with this.
Which handles some functions within the game depending on the superheroes that are playing.
Yep, so it has the logo of each of the superheroes that you can play as. So you've got Captain America, you have Hulk, you have Iron Man, you've got Thor, who have I missed? Black Widow, I think, and Hawkeye. Yeah. So then we have the pieces themselves, which again are just plastic. I mean, they've got a fair bit of detail on them for what they are,
But they're pretty spindly, you know.
They could easily come off their bases, so something to just be careful
The Hulk's not too bad, but you can see he's been glued on sort of in the middle there.
But he's, chunkier to begin with.
Yeah, so I can see a lot of these getting broken over time.
Yeah, if it was played enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have Mr. America.
Captain America. You can tell who they all are, by the way. So that, sometimes you get pieces in board games and they're like, this is this, and you're like, no, that doesn't look like it, but...
So there's your pieces, and then you have the, I suppose, what would you call them?
They are location markers, so each player gets a matching, I think there's 12 of these to go with whoever they are. So if I was like, I'm going to play as Captain America, I get 12 of
And they've got the shield on, and they've all got the appropriate icons.
Yep, they're just empty.
And they're placed on locations once the villain at that location has been defeated.
So that's essentially buying a property. You defeat a villain, and then you put that on to show that that's your property.
So the way the game ends is basically you can't go bankrupt.
No.
The game ends when all of the properties are owned or all the villains are defeated on the board.
All the villains are defeated. So.
And then basically you add up how much power you've got at the end, which is calculated in a few different ways.
Yes. So here is the board. You may notice the shape is completely different to a normal Monopoly.
Yes, it's circle like the Star Wars one. You've still got...
Well, the Star Wars one wasn't quite a circle. It had its own thing going on.
It was like a little planet, but yeah, different shaped. You've got obviously the go, just visiting in jail, free parking, and a go to jail as you would on any other regular Monopoly board.
They are the only spaces on this board, though, that are the same. So these are the properties or locations here. So this set, for example, is located in Manhattan. We have the Raft, we have Asgard, we have Avengers Tower, Wakanda, and so on around the board.
And associated villains at each of those locations.
Yeah, so they have a little picture of the villain and then their name. So here in Manhattan we have Abomination. This value here is the power money that you need to defeat that villain or purchase that location.
So basically you land on there, you pay the power, the villain is defeated, and then you place one of your location tokens
over his face or her face, depending on who the villain is.
What's interesting is you have to pay the value regardless when you land on it. So
so you cannot choose, is what you mean. So
in a regular Monopoly, if you land on a property, you can choose not to buy it and go up for auction. This one, if you've got the power, you have to pay it, and if you don't, you have to, I think, roll the die and then whichever hero comes up on the die, they lend you their power.
Yeah.
And then they put their token on that location after paying the required power.
Yes, yeah. So if you haven't got your power, you roll the dice that has the logos on.
Oh, damn.
Now,
I landed on I can't pay it. Oh.
Whoever's playing as Iron Man is now going to pay with their power instead. A few issues with that, which I think is a little bit weird. One, you don't have to have everybody in the game. So you could roll Iron Man, and Iron Man might not be a character that's being played, which then means presumably you would roll again. The instructions do not mention that, though.
My assumption is you would, because you have to pay the cost.
Yeah.
So basically, when me and Laura are playing, we don't bother rolling because
There's only 2 of us in the game. Another issue with that, though, is that I might roll Captain America, and whoever's playing as Captain America also might not have enough power.
it doesn't really specify what goes on after that.
Yeah, so if you roll someone who doesn't have the power, it doesn't say whether to keep rolling to find someone else or not. If you are doing just a 2-player game and neither of you have the power, I guess you just leave it, but that's just how we're interpreting it.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's how you generally do that. And
Yeah.
you go all the way around the board, and when all of the locations are filled with,
Tokens, they're all rescued and cleared of villains.
then you calculate how much power you've got.
Yeah. So you count your on-hand power as well as, I think it was 100?
100 power
Yeah.
per location owned.
That you've saved personally.
Yes.
Yep, the winner is the one with the highest. There's a few other things then along the way. We have shield and villains spaces.
So, like the Star Wars ones, you got the Rebel and the Empire. The shield cards are generally all good, and the villain cards are usually all bad.
Yeah, so these are your
Chance and community chest. Yep.
It also says to discard these at the start of the game.
I don't know why they're included, but there you go.
Alright, so we have our villains cards. Obviously, if you land on a villain space, you pick up one of these.
Whiplash, use the slash attack. Remove a location marker for any Whiplash space. So you look for anyone, you look for Whiplash, where he may be.
Here, for example, so you remove whoever's token is on there. So again, these are the negative sort of cards.
Ultron self-repairs. Return the highest value marker to the hero it belongs on. So, okay, well, let's see. Someone's in Wakanda, and it's 320. That's the highest value. You remove it.
Yep. Ultron uses his Encephalo Ray. You might have to roll.
And then depending on, if you roll a certain hero, they lose or gain, whatever it may be.
Yep, so I'll just flick through. We won't read all of these, but again, none of them are particularly good, of course. So you lose power, you remove markers. Obviously, that makes the game take longer if you get a lot of those.
We should mention that if a card says, roll a dice 3 times and each hero loses 40 power, you can only roll a hero once. If they get hit once, they can't be re-rolled again and lose another 40.
Yeah, so if you roll 3 times and you get Hulk 3 times, the person who's playing Hulk doesn't have to pay 3 times. That would be awful.
Just the once.
Yeah, imagine that. Oh yeah, you missed 3 turns, Hulk. Sorry. So they're all sort of different bits and pieces. They all tie in, with something from Avengers, which is nice. And the cards are totally different. It's not just there's no houses and hotels and things of that nature, obviously, because that wouldn't fit in the game. So there's just a spot on the board for those.
We have shield, which are pretty much the opposite.
Yeah.
So supercharged, roll the hero die 3 times. You and other heroes roll, collect 200 power. Avengers assemble or move another hero to the space you're on. They do not pass go or pick up shield cards. We will get to the power cards in a moment for each character.
Yes.
Surprise attack, advance to any villain controlled space and pay. Advance to any villain controlled space, a space with no marker, and pay the power cost to save it. So,
that could be good or bad depending on whether you've got power to do something.
This particular one, it says activate all hero superpower. Now's a good time to talk about said superpowers.
Yes, so depending on who you play as, you get a matching card here. Each of them has their own special power. You can only use it once for every loop of the board.
Unless otherwise specified on a card.
Yep. So when you use it, you turn it this side so that you can't see the power on the back, which we'll show you in a second. When you then go past or land on go, you turn it back over, which reactivates it. So this side is you've already used it. This side is you can use your power. So Captain America has his Vibranium Shield. You can say no to any action, which is very useful, of course.
Black Widow.
Black Widow
Advance up to 6 spaces during your turn, which means you can go from, I assume, 1 to 6.
Wherever you want to. Yeah, wherever you want to go. Iron Man has armor up, which you can use any other hero's superpower as long as it's active.
So I could use Black Widow's thing and then move up to 6 spaces.
Yeah, I feel like this one would be more useful if you had everybody playing the game, like what's the 6 players?
Yeah.
If you only had 2, you got to time it just right to use somebody else's.
Or if you're a Black Widow and I really want to play as Black Widow, I can still use your power, I suppose.
Yeah, but you have more options the more players there are.
Hawkeye.
Yep, Hawkeye has locked on target.
When you land on a villain's space, take 2 cards and choose which one you want to play.
I mean, again, can be useful, or, you might just get 2 really bad cards, and that might not help. We have Hulk.
What have we got?
Hulk smash.
Swap any 2 heroes at the start of your turn.
So moves their position on the board.
There's definitely better ones. You got to be... Yeah.
Something hanging off my sleeve.
Yeah, you got definitely some better hero powers in here than others.
Yeah. We have Thor, Bring the Thunder. If you don't like what another hero rolled, you can demand a re-roll. So maybe you don't want them to land on
So I think
something specific.
Thor and Black Widow, I think, were some of the most useful, just clearly. Or Captain America. And the other ones are more situational, so...
Yep. In regards to like jail, free parking and all that kind of thing, free parking does nothing, just like in regular Monopoly. Go to jail sends you to jail, of course.
You have to pay to get out. I don't believe you can roll to get out.
No, so it's a little bit different. So it's 50 power at the start of your next turn to break out of jail. I think you can stay in there. No, you can't stay in there any turns at all. It's just you pay and you come out.
There ain't no rest for the wicked.
No. If you don't have enough power at all for like something other than just defeating a villain...
Tough luck.
The Bank of Power, which is what the bank's called in this game, by the way, doesn't like help you out.
You can't take a loan of power. You basically just have to keep going and hope you pass go and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously just visiting is just visiting.
Just
I
visiting.
mean, it's there's nothing much else to that. I thought there's something we missed. Oh, the Bank of Power. There was something I was going to say about it and I can't remember now. Never mind. It can't have been anything too important. So
we found. Go on.
Double power as well if you own the full property.
As per usual. So if someone lands on it, instead of paying this,
No, so this one in the corner is what you pay.
Yes.
So if I own this and Nathan lands on it, it's 40 power to me. If I own both, it would be 80. However, if someone lands on my space, say here, I have to say power up. Otherwise, I don't get paid.
I suppose it's the equivalent of in Monopoly. If someone lands on your space and you don't ask them for rent and the next turn goes, then you forfeit the rent.
Yeah.
Or in this case, power.
Yeah.
Which doesn't even make any sense, really. You're sapping the power of other superheroes.
I guess so. Or you're getting their help is how they kind of bill it. If you roll doubles, it's the same. You go to jail if you roll 3 sets of those in a row. So obviously want to avoid that. I think that's pretty much... Oh, if you don't have enough power to pay another superhero, again, it's just too bad. You pay them what you've got kind of thing.
So we found this one compared to the Star Wars one, I think, only because they're both quite different but similar in terms of like buying space stations or planets outposts and like obviously locations. We find this one didn't flow quite as nicely as the Star Wars one.
No, yeah. If you're looking at one or the other, I would recommend the Star Wars one. It's up on the channel now if you want to go and watch that if you haven't. This one's fine. But...
You need more than 2 people, definitely.
Yeah,
I think the most at least the Star Wars one, you could... That was a lot better with 2 people. This one, it's a bit bare bones when playing with 2 people, and
There are other Marvel ones. I think we've reviewed the Marvel Comics Monopoly. That's already up on the channel now.
That was a nice one, that one.
It was,
at least the design of it.
Yeah, so there are other options out there. If you enjoyed watching this video, give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comment section down below if like the newer kind of Marvel Avengers one with the nicer pieces, does it play the same? I'd be curious to know. We do have it, we just haven't played it yet.
We have a lot of Monopolies that are still unopened.
Yes, we do. Hit that subscribe button and check back soon. We have videos every single Tuesday.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.